Hello humans, I'm TheAlienDoctor, but you could call me Alien, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition beta video. Today we're going to be taking a look at 1.18.10.20, but before we do that, I think we have some very important Minecraft news to go over regarding this update. And that very important thing is actually to do with this press release blog post thingy on Minecraft.net, the official website for Minecraft, of course, because they have announced that Caves and Cliffs Part 2, aka 1.18, is actually releasing on November the 30th, which is very exciting. We've got roughly around 10 days when this video comes out until 1.18 releases, and that's pretty exciting. So I did mention in my last video that 1.18 would likely release on a Tuesday, and I was actually correct. Looking at the calendar, the 30th is in fact a Tuesday. So, yeah, I guess I should say I told you so here, because I did literally say 1.18 will probably release on a Tuesday. But anyway, so as you can probably imagine, that means the majority of this beta and the upcoming betas, if there are any more, are mostly just bug fixes. Although I have to say this one does have a lot more bug fixes than the last beta, which is nice to see. And the same thing goes for the Java Edition pre-releases, of course. If you want to go and check out the Java Edition pre-releases, then I'd recommend watching Exumavoid, or Exumavoid's second channel, I think is where he's putting the pre-releases stuff. I don't really cover Minecraft Java Edition, I'm here to cover Bedrock Edition. So without further ado, let's get into it. So they have fixed a bug to do with chorus fruit and ender pearls. So if you actually focus on the item in the hotbar, you'll see that when I throw the ender pearl, it has that sort of transparent white box sort of go across it to represent the cooldown, and the same thing happens if we eat the chorus fruit. In previous versions, this was not transparent and it was completely white, so this bug has now been fixed because, as you can see, it is now actually transparent. So a bug fix to do with these things, which is of course the ruined portals. When they generate underwater, they will no longer be waterlogged and will actually spawn dry. Obviously, this one isn't underwater, but I couldn't find one underwater to show you, so this is the best that we've got, I'm sorry. A slight buff to do with the Frostwalker enchantments now, in that the Frostwalker has been capped to a maximum of 8 blocks of, generating ice. So the maximum amount of ice that the Frostwalker enchantment will actually generate is 8 blocks from now on. This is to do with server performance and things like that. It should just make it a lot easier. Now, I never use this, so how's it work? Okay, there we go. And you can see here, apparently this should be 8 blocks, but it doesn't look like 8 blocks. I have to admit, this looks considerably more than 8 blocks. I mean, we can try counting it. Maybe it means 8 by 8, because yeah, that looked to be about, I didn't actually count it, but that looked like it was just about 8 by 8. So maybe it means an 8 by 8 square instead of 8 blocks. But anyway, this has been done to avoid the server being unresponsive. So a quite useful bug fix to do with the farmer villagers now. From now on, these guys will no longer pick up more than 8 stacks of items. Previously, they would pick up over 8 stacks of items and just steal your items. So they actually now have a proper inventory. I mean, I think that guy's inventory is full. If we go over to this farmer instead and try it out, we should be able to throw him some carrots, and then eventually he'll stop picking them up. So yeah, as you can see, this farmer is no longer picking up any more carrots because his inventory has more than 8 stacks in it, which I believe should be the same if we just try it out with another villager type. Should be the same with all the other villagers as well. So is it picking up any of these? No, it's not. So this also shows us, I'm not actually sure if this is something we already knew or if it's something I've forgotten, but this also shows us that the amount of inventory spaces a villager has on Bedrock Edition is 8 slots or 8 stacks or whatever. So they changed something with maps, so this should just make them a lot more easily accessible to view and things like that, because offset maps held in hand relative to the screen's aspect ratio, so it will always stay close to the screen's edge and remain fully visible. That's what the changelog says. What I'm assuming it means is to do with how big the map actually is when you hold it and stuff, and this change also looks to me like it has happened in the offhand as well, because if you ask me, the offhand map used to be a lot bigger and a lot more annoying. So yeah, hopefully that shouldn't happen anymore if you have a screen this size or bigger or smaller or whatever. I don't know, this one is kind of confusing, so don't worry if you don't understand it fully. So a fix to do with monster spawners now, or just spawners in general. As you can see here, I'm using this one to spawn villagers, which obviously isn't natural. But anyway, sometimes they would stop spawning mobs when the chunks they were placed in were reloaded. So let's say you went over there and then came back here, that would be effectively reloading those chunks. And sometimes the spawner would stop spawning mobs because the chunks have been reloaded. So that bug has now been fixed, which is very nice, because it means that your zombie farms and whatnot will actually work. I actually believe, looking back, that I experienced this bug on Pineacraft Season 2 without even realizing it. A change to do with water now, or more like a bug fix. So water blocks near edges should actually flow properly in. Ooh, that was an interesting little bug. Look, the game thinks I'm in water over here. However, this may not have anything to do with that water, and it might just be because this world is slightly glitchy. Nope, okay, that's really interesting. So look, no water there. And I can walk perfectly fine through there. But then if I place water, the game thinks there's invisible water there. That's so weird. Interesting. But it doesn't think there's any water here. It's literally just here. What about, right, like here? Yeah, look, the game thinks I'm in water here as well. So it's almost like the game thinks I've placed this water this block instead of here, but then it would flow this way as well. Does this happen if we place it here? Yeah, so it looks like water's offset slightly. Like, not visually. Interesting. Well, that's a bug. That's not been fixed. So they improved the animation for falling sand and falling gravel. I noticed on the AlienCraft Season 2 world the other day that it was a lot more jittery than what it is now. Now that might have been lag, but like this world, AlienCraft is a local world, not a multiplayer or anything like that. Which makes me think that what has been changed is that the falling animation is no longer really jittery, which is kind of good. And yeah, obviously this will happen for all gravity blocks, not just sand and gravel. I'm just showing you with sand and gravel because they're the most popular ones. So from now on, all the different types of copper blocks will actually oxidize in the nether. So let's just do this at the maximum efficiency. So let's have one here and then 4 blocks away. Okay, so, and then to demonstrate that this bug actually has been fixed, we are going to turn up the random tick speed, which does normally increase the lag of the world a little bit as well. But anyway, there we go. And we should see that these begin oxidizing. And yeah, we just saw that one oxidize and that one oxidized quite quickly. And that one's fully oxidized now. So yeah, I can confirm this bug has actually been fixed and copper will now actually oxidize in the nether. So they have finally fixed a bug that I have wanted fixing for absolutely ages, but it is basically where you'd come back from the nether or even just reloading chunks and you'd see all of these weird lighting glitches all over the place. They were so annoying, and that has now been fixed in 1.18. They were so annoying, like, actually, I hated them so much. They would always happen on chunk borders and I hate them. They're annoying. You'd have to like place a block or a light block or something to like update the area, and oh my gosh, I genuinely hated that bug so much, and I'm so glad to see that it's finally been removed. So the Lodestone Compass, which I believe they mean this, however I'm not quite sure, as well as other blocks that I was unable to find because they hadn't actually listed them. This is the only one that's listed on the bug tracker. But anyway, basically some textures have been updated for multiple blocks and items to remove bugs and achieve parity between Bedrock and Java Edition. So they haven't actually specified what blocks or items. However, on the bug tracker that they linked, one of the items given was the Lodestone, or it might have been the Lodestone Compass, I'm not quite sure, but basically a couple of blocks will have had some minor texture changes to now match Java Edition. Okay, so for this next bug, I hopped onto the Pineacraft Season 2 world download, because yes, this season of Pineacraft has actually finished. You can get it from Pineacraft TheAlienDoctor.com if you want to download the world. But anyway, the reason I'm here is because this is, of course, a 1.17 world. In fact, this area was probably even generated in 1.16 to show you how old it is. But anyway, the reason I came here is because if we dig straight down, then eventually we'll get to y equals 0, and apparently we'll also get to someone's strip mine. But anyway, we'll get to y equals 0, and you can see here that the bedrock layer that would normally be here in 1.17 or pre 1.18 has actually been turned to deep slate. So from now on, when you actually update your world, you'll no longer get the bedrock layer, you'll actually get the deep slate. And deep slate will generate between y equals 4, so here, and y equals 0, which is obviously where I am stood right now, or one below where I'm stood now. So yeah, deep slate will actually generate between y equals 0 and y equals 4 in old chunks. And this is obviously to replace the old bedrock that used to be here. So there has been a parity feature to do with the music disc Pigstep and Lena Rain, obviously the two most recent music discs that have been added to the game. Obviously Pigstep in 1.16 and then other side in 1.18. And this is a parity feature because apparently this already happened on Java Edition, but I didn't even know it was a thing. So basically, if you put the music disc Pigstep in a jukebox, a comparator that is reading the jukebox will now give a signal strength of 13, as you can see here. So what I have set up is just a ton of redstone and dust, as you can see, and then some target blocks to redirect that redstone to then power the lamp. That's what all the target blocks are for and things like that. You can see here, when I put Pigstep into the jukebox, it actually gave a signal strength of 13. Now, apparently, if I do the other side, then it should give a signal strength of 14. So let's see. Yes, it actually does. So I didn't even know this was a feature, so it's quite cool. So now what I want to do is get one of each music disc, and I want to see if they all give like a different signal strength, because if they do, that's really cool, because I totally did not realize this was a thing. So 13 gives a signal strength of 1. I feel like 13 should actually give a signal strength of 13, but anyway. Then we've got cat, which is 2. Blocks is 3. Chirp is 4. Fart is 5. Maul or mal or however you say it is 6. Mellow high is 7. Stal is 8. Strad is 9. Ward or however you say it is 10. We've then got 11, which is 11. Nice. Weight is 12. Other side is obviously 14, and then Pigstep is obviously 13, as we've already gone over. And last but not least, they fixed a rather annoying bug where the bow would shake when it wasn't loaded. So as you can see right here, the bow is actually loaded, so you can see it's shaking in my hand. Now it looks rather strange if I go into F5. As you can see, I feel like this animation still needs to be fixed. However, if I'm in first person, it's shaking. Now previously it would continue shaking after you've shot your arrow or whatever, so it would still shake in your hand. What happens if I load the bow and then switch to another one? Does it still shake? No, it doesn't, because I believe that was also one of the causes of it as well. So it's nice to see that that bug has been fixed. It was a rather annoying one. It would just happen whenever you hold a bow, which is just really annoying. But anyway, that is going to do it for today's video and Minecraft Bedrock Edition beta. I have missed out a couple of minor things, such as updates to the add-on stuff, as well as other small bugs that are hard to show, or bug fixes, I guess. But other than that, thank you ever so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe today to join the Alien Empire. I'll see you in the next video coming soon. Bye.